The entrada of Francisco Vázquez de Coronado became the basis for much of what followed in Texas history. His army traversed northwestern Mexico, much of New Mexico, southeastern Arizona, parts of Texas, and maybe even parts of Colorado and Kansas. In 1540, Coronado's large Spanish invasion, including some 300 Spanish conquistadors, nearly 1,000 indigenous allies, and thousands of cattle, hogs, sheep, and horses, set off from Compostela on the west coast of Mexico. Following the reports and rumors that had filtered into New Spain over the years, Coronado and his men remained confident of discovering 7 settlements of great wealth, known collectively as Cibola, and located in the far-off land of Quivira. Pushing north to present-day western New Mexico, the Spanish encountered the Zuni people and promptly took over their town and others nearby. Scouts pushed on to the lands of the Hopi and even stumbled upon the Grand Canyon, but plunder eluded them. Although the Spanish found no meaningful wealth, they did discover that the native peoples feared their neighbors and mostly placed their towns, their pueblos, atop easy-to-defend high mesas. What these Europeans could not have known was the people they dubbed Pueblos were the remnants, the descendants of the collapsed ancestral Pueblo culture. Coronado kept searching for Cibola. Spanish and native scouts rode back from the Rio Grande Valley and advised the expedition to head east into a region loaded with corn and good grass for grazing. When Coronado led his troops into that region, the native Tiwash people defended their territory tenaciously, but unsuccessfully. Soon, most villages in the middle Rio Grande Valley of present-day New Mexico had fallen, and the Spanish consumed the food they found and settled in for the next phase of the campaign, gathering in the native village of Tigay, near present-day Albuquerque. Coronado, like his men and no doubt the officials in New Spain, grew anxious to make this entrada pay off. One of the prisoners taken in all of the fighting looked different from the others. The Spanish believed he looked Turkish, so they christened him El Turco. He had a story to tell. The Tiwash people had enslaved him, but he promised his homeland was in fact Gran Quivira. The Spanish believed him, and in 1541 headed through what is now the Panhandle of Texas, across the Llano Estacado, or the Staked Plains, and into a vast sea of grass, the Great Plains. They encountered buffalo by the thousands, and new peoples. The plains-dwelling Carechos and the Tias, living in villages of grass huts, still no gold and no cities. The Spanish grew tired of the long and fruitless journey and believed that they had been tricked. They killed the Turk and headed back toward the Tiwash country. Returning to the Pueblo region they had named Nuevo Mexico, Coronado and his men had to subdue the population once again. Amid the skirmishing, Coronado fell from his horse, adding a fresh injury to a battle wound he had sustained the previous year. Disappointed and in pain, Coronado lost interest in Cibola. In 1542, he gathered his command to return to Mexico. What sort of report do you think he delivered? The government wanted to know what return to expect on the investment of time and treasure on this entrada. Coronado responded that if Cibola and Gran Quivira even existed, he didn't see it. By the middle of the 1540s, the word was out. Up north was rough country full of rough people and held absolutely nothing of value.